Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Under Eagle Mountain Making Podcast. Hello, my name's Laura and I'm in the north of England, and this is my podcast all about my making endeavours. This week I've got a little bit to show, not loads and loads, but enough I think. Starting with my finished objects, I've got a knitted finished object, a sewn one, and several thrown ones because I have come to the end of my pottery course. So I'll share that stuff with you. So my first finished object is what I'm wearing. It's my most recent Tolster tee. This is a pattern I'm sure everybody knows by Rebecca from the Crayer Bayer. It's a hugely popular pattern and I've knitted 3, and this one is my favourite, definitely. The first one I knitted in a linen held with a mohair. The second one I knitted in knitting for olive pure silk, and I do like that one, although the neckline is a bit wider. Even though I think I knitted a smaller size. But anyway, this is the size 3, and it's a really nice fit. There's just enough ease for it to be really comfortable, but the neckline is a good size. It's not too wide. The arms are a nice length. I think I knitted the arms a bit longer than the pattern said, and I think I knitted the ribbon I think mine's a tiny bit deeper, but I think she suggests knitting 8 rows and I knitted 10. But I just did it so that I like the look of it. This is knitted in Ultra Prima cotton by Cascade Yarns, and I think the colour was called Chartreuse or something. It has got a number. I mentioned it in my last episode, I think, if you were desperate to find out. But yeah, it's like a lovely yellowy goldy green, and the cotton is quite it doesn't say on the label that it's mersized, but it's quite shiny, so it may be, but it feels lovely. It feels really thick and kind of squidgy, so it feels woolly in a way, but it's quite cool to wear and really comfortable to wear. I'm very happy with it. I would definitely recommend the yarn and I would knit with it again. So yeah, I knitted it mainly to go with I chose the colour to go with that main linen that I made the bob pants in that I had on last week, last time, and it goes. My dad and stepmom have been for a visit, and I had it on today is Thursday the 4th. It's polling day, so I hope anybody in the UK that is watching this that you voted. I'm going to do it straight after this. Anyway, so I had on Tuesday I came down and my dad was like, whoa, that's a bright outfit, but I felt really nice in it. I was dead pleased, so I'm happy. Moving on, my next finished object is a sewn one, and it's a little blouse. I'm still in my summer holiday making mode, so here it is. Can you see? Hold it up. This is it. So it's just a very simple blouse. It's using the top of the dress pattern that I kind of made up, that I've made a few dresses out of. So if you've watched this podcast before, you'll have seen there was one in that main linen, the same as my bob trousers, that goes with this. Made a blue one, and I've made a blue sort of plaid one. And so it's just the same, but it's lengthened in the body because the dresses are quite, it's an empire waist line, whereas this is sits just below the waistline of a pair of trousers. It's got nice short sleeve, quite wide. They don't, when I finished it I thought, oh, they look a bit big, but actually on they don't look as wide. Kind of looks a bit baseball shirty. This is quite a sheer cotton from Merchant and Mills. They've got quite a lot of them in at the minute. They're kind of Indian cottons. They're really lovely, and most of them are in natural colour, in the natural colour. I really like this one with the sort of embroidery on it, and then the buttons, I don't know if you can tell from here that they're slightly mismatched. I went through my button drawer and my button box and just pulled out sort of ones that are a similar size and a similar colour. this one is too close to the bottom. I do it every time. I space them out and I think, yeah, that looks nice. And then I turn up the seam allowance and think, oh, I should have done it higher. So it is a bit low, but either I just won't do that one up, or it might be like French tucked into the front of my trousers. So it's not perfect, but on the whole, I'm pretty pleased with it. I think the top stitching to get the button band on is like the nicest that I've done. So practice is obviously making not quite perfect, but better. And so my next finished objects, I'm not going to go through all of them. I made lots of different pots. It was a 10-week course, and like wheel throwing on a wheel, and it was very hard. Like I knew it was going to be hard, but it was really hard. So my aim had been to try and make some sort of cup shapes or like beaker shapes, not worry about handles or anything, and just see if I could do that. And it took me maybe, it's a week 6 maybe before I made one where I thought, oh, that looks kind of all right, that looks reasonable. So most of the ones that I made before that just got, dumped, turned back into clay to be used again. But 7 I chose to have fired and glazed. And, throwing the pots was hard, and then it came to turning and trimming the pots. It's like once they've dried out, it's called leather hard, so it's sort of enough to handle them. You have to you put them back on the wheel and you turn them, so you turn it on the wheel and you trim, so you scrape away with a tool to kind of smooth off the edges, or to sort of refine the shape, or to take out some of the clay from the base particularly, so it's not as heavy. That was very hard. And then once I'd kind of got better at that, then I had to go on to glazing. That was really hard. You would think if you've got a pot and you have to dip it in the glaze, and then you'd think, well, all you're doing is dipping, like how hard can that be? It's really hard, let me tell you, because the different glazes were kind of different viscosities. So, some you would just sort of dip in and you'd pour out and it was like water, and others, like, it would be really unctuous. So like one dip and it's just got like half a centimetre worth of glaze clinging to the outside, and you're thinking, oh, that's quite a lot. And there's drips and there's this and there's that. So it's all a learning curve. What I decided to do was dip a different pot in a different glaze, because I've already signed up for the next 10-week block, which starts in September. So I just, hopefully I will make better pots as time goes on. So I kind of thought I'd treat these as like practice ones, as experimental ones. And so part of that was just having a go at the different glazes and seeing what I liked and what I didn't like, and so on and so forth. And there were a couple of mystery glazes, like 2 buckets that appeared, and the woman that runs our class, who is also called Laura, was like, I don't know what they are, I don't know what they'll look like. So we'll just see. We've just found them and stuck them in and have a go. So I won't show you all of them, because that will probably be very boring for people that aren't interested in making pots, but I will show you a couple of my favourites. This is my very favourite one, so if you follow me on Instagram you might already have seen this. This was the best one that I'd made. I think it was the last thing that I threw, and when I'd finished on the pot, it was perfect. But then you can see it's not quite round, because when I picked it up, obviously the clay is still quite soft. So as I took it off the wheel and put it onto the drying shelf, I kind of squished it a bit and it distorted. But, practice, 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 practice. And so this is kind of like, I think it's called a vintage yellow. I think that's how it was described. And it's a bit sort of speckly, some yellow bits, some brown bits, and I left the bottom bit kind of raw. To me, this is very 70s, but I kind of love it. And I've had my morning coffee in it this morning, and I can confirm that it works. It's a good size, actually. It doesn't feel too heavy. I managed to pull up quite a bit of the clay in the side and trim quite a bit out the bottom. So that is the one I think I will use the most. That's my very, very favourite one. Kind of looks nice with my top, eye colour. Another one that I really like the shape of this one. It's like a little bowl. It's quite enclosed, and it's quite there's a bit of thickness here, but it's quite thin at the side. Like, I was quite pleased with it. And I dipped it in a glaze called Coral, which was meant to be like a pinky red, like probably not far off this sort of colour. And in places, like inside, I don't know if you can see really, inside it's turned out really beautiful. And there are little places here, like where it's turned out really beautiful, but in some places it's kind of brown and it's blistered. And I think that's to do with poorly applied glaze. Like, it's like there's blisters because it's too thick, and but the brown is maybe where it's not gone on thickly enough. I don't know, it's all a practice. It is a shame that the most lovely bit is the inside, because I think I'm going to put a little plant in it, you know, one of those, are they called string of pearl plants, where they kind of all trail down over the edge. I think that's what I'm going to do. That was my plan for that. So I do like it. It's going to go in my bedroom. This one is a bit of a shame. This one would be my favourite if the glaze had worked out better. Like, I think that bit here looks really nice. I really like this bit, but as you can see when I turn it round, very dribbly, not gorgeous. It's quite nice inside. I like this. This bit looks like a sort of matte white speckly glaze, and it looks really pretty. And I think that's because when you put your pot down after you've glazed it, some of it will drip down, so that base will be thicker, you know, there'll be a thicker and probably more even layer of glaze, and that turned out quite nice. This was one of the mystery glazes, and it was actually called Indigo Mist, so I was expecting a pale blue, and I dipped it in 3 times, and it's come out kind of white. But I do quite like it. If it wasn't dribbly, I'd really like it. It would be my favourite. So I would be tempted to have a go at that again, and kind of maybe just work a bit harder at not letting it get all dribbling. But this is a really nice, it's nice, like I can imagine if I had a handle on that, that would be a nice sized teacup. And it's really light, it's quite thin, the base is really thin. So like, I feel that was quite a sort of good quality pot, that one. So I'm pleased with that one. And the last one that I will bore you with is this one. It's like a cute little pot, nice shape, quite circular, quite pleased with that. It's a bit heavier than some of the other ones, and you can see like the glaze is a bit thick. It's actually like a raised line, but it's a nice, it's like a greeny blue, like a duck egg, and there's little speckles on, and it's nice and brown around the edge. I think it's just quite pretty. My mum kept saying that her birthday is this month, and she kept saying, I'm expecting one of your pots for my birthday. And I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to be making anything quite up to standard for a birthday present. But this is kind of her colours, so I'm going to see if she wants it. And if she does, she can have it. I don't know what she'd use it for. Herbs, maybe she could put a little herb plant in it or something like that. But yeah, so it was really good fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. And I'm going to try and make sort of more like that cup one or more like the beaker one, and I'm going to be brave and try and put handles on. So yeah. Right. Works in progress. So I am still working away on that frost sweater, but I have quite good news to report. I'm not going to show it because it's the same thing that I've shown like 2 times running. I've done both sleeves and I've done the back, and I'm kind of up to, I've just about to start the raglan shaping. So I've just cast off for like the armpit notch, and I'm going to do the raglan shaping. There is a bit of short row shaping in the front, which I guess is to accommodate a bust. And so I think I will finish that next week. I haven't really done much this week whilst my dad and I have been here. And then tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to my mum's for the weekend. and I don't want to take it with me because it's like 3 balls of mohair and I have to concentrate, and I'm probably going to be having a glass of wine with my mum of the evening, and the two, that and knitting mohair with 3 balls of wool, do not match. So I'm going to take something more simple, which I'll show in a minute. So next week I'm going to sort of dedicate 2 hours every day, which is what I've been doing, to like push through and get that, and I think I'll finish it, and then I will block it and seam it. That is my plan. I am not looking forward to seaming the mohair, gotta be honest. Also, I lost a bit of motivation, like what motivation I had, I kind of lost over the weekend because it looked weird. It looked like it was going to be too big. The distance from the armpit notch on the back to the neck looked really long, like it was longer than the body. And I thought, that means that the armpit's going to be quite low down, which is fine, except I'd started knitting the sleeves first because we were going to see Dad and Diane, and I thought if I can knit one sleeve first, I can check that that fits. Because Di had said to me that she had quite long arms, and she thought I would have to add length, and they live in like 2.5 hours away, so I can't just pop round. So I knew that we were going to see her, so I'd knitted that sleeve, and I'd knitted it so that the underarm measurement matched hers, which was 19 inches, because the measurement on, well, I'd knitted it to 18 because I allowed for a bit of, you know, it wouldn't be right snug up there, but the recommended length had been 15.5 inches, and she was like, well, that'll be halfway up my forearm. But obviously if the raglan finishes like here, then you don't need that much length on the sleeve because your armpit's starting here rather than there. So then I'm thinking, oh no, like I don't want to unravel all of that mohair and then all the length with the marlin, and it'll all just tangle and it'll be a nightmare. And it took me forever. It took me a month to knit those 2 sleeves, and I don't want to do it again. And I'm thinking. So when she came this week, I like admitted it to her. I think I've cocked up. I think it's not going to be right. And she's looking at me thinking, oh no, like she wanted to say it'll be okay, it'll be fine, but at the same time she's like, but I don't want to wear a jumper that sleeves end way past my fingers. She was like, oh, what can we do? She said, get it out, let me have a look. So I laid the back on the floor, and then I put the arms in, and I kind of put the notches together so that they would fit and see what it looked like. And we're looking at it thinking, yeah, it does look a bit, it doesn't look right. And then she just lay down. She lay down on top of it. And it didn't look weird at all. It looked all right. Like it looked. So if you wanted it to end here, they would maybe end here, the sleeves. But actually the cuff is quite fitted. So I think it wouldn't slip down over a hand. It would stay there, and you'd maybe just get a tiny bit of blouse in above the wrist, which is, you know, I think that's fine. She said that was fine. But where I thought this was weird, like I thought the neck was going to come up to here, and the raglan, like that's meant to sit on your shoulder here, was going to be up here, and I just thought, oh, it all looks weird. Actually, it didn't. I mean, I told her the shoe just must be a weird shape. And she was like, yeah, well, I don't care as long as it fits. But I felt so much better. I felt so relieved once we'd kind of tried it against it, and it wasn't going to be as dreadful as I thought. So fingers crossed, I'll finish the front, and it'll kind of look all right. It'll be okay. I'm really hoping, because I do want it to be right for her. So if it wasn't, I would like pull it back and start again. Although I think that might necessitate buying more of the mohair, because I'm not sure how those marled bits, I'm not sure how easily they would come apart without damaging. Let's not think about it. Let's just hope that isn't going to be an issue. So yeah, that's one work in progress. And although I've talked about it at length, I've not shown it because it just looks like it's just green mohair like it was last time. But hopefully next time I'll have a finished object to show you. So as I said, I'm going to my mum's, and I wouldn't go anywhere without knitting, especially as I'm going just me, no children. She's having like a party on Friday evening, like a works. She doesn't work, she volunteers, and she's in a role, and she's having a little party for the other people that work with her. to say thank you for their work, and she had making cakes and skivvying basically for her. But then we've nothing else on, and so she said stay for the weekend, and my husband said yeah, stay with your mum for the weekend. So I get to have a weekend with just her, which is really nice, but it means I'll probably get lots of knitting time. But I didn't want to take the mohair one, so I cast on something new. This is my swatch. It's quite drapey, it's quite nice. It's a cream cotton. Well, it's white. It's just off-white. It's not kind of bleached white. I think it's probably the natural colour. It is this Ragin Petunia, which is 100% cotton. Oh, no, it says, I'm going to show it because I don't know which is the colour. So it says Fage 219 and Party 42. So one's the colour and one's the lot number, I would imagine, the dye lot number. I don't know which is which, sorry, but it's just like the natural. It'll be called natural or something on the website, I'm sure. I don't love it, I have to say. I quite like it. The fabric it makes, knitted up, it's got a bit of stretch to it. It's really drapey. So it's a DK weight yarn, and this is it knitted on 4mm needles, and I like the fabric. It's kind of lets a bit of light in, but it's not gonna, you're not gonna see skin through it, I don't think, really. But knitting with it, can you see? Let's see if I can. Can you see all the plies come apart really easily? Can you see? It's a bit like knitting with string, and the plies do come apart. I mean, you can see the end there. It is a bit like knitting with string. I've knitted dishcloths before, and it's a bit like dishcloth cotton, although it is quite a lot softer. I think it will be nice to wear. There's a bit of a story. I wanted to knit a t-shirt by Fable Knitwear, which I think was called, I'm going to say it's called the Guinevere t-shirt. That might not be right. And it was just like a short-sleeved V-neck button top, like a tee, short-sleeve cardigan, but you wear it like a tee. And I'd seen quite a few pictures of it, I think on like Pinterest. Actually, it looks a lot like that cotton blouse. It's that sort of shape. And I really liked it, and I thought that would be really useful because you could wear it as a t-shirt, or you could wear it over a dress, open or whatever. But when I went to the Ravelry page, she's discontinued, like she's retired the pattern. And she says it's because it was knitted in a particular yarn which has now been discontinued, and the gauge was a bit finicky and she couldn't make it work in other yarns. So she's just retired the pattern, but then she linked to another pattern which was very similar and said, if you like this shape of top, try this pattern. So I think that was called, I think it was called the Skagen or Skagen tee, and it did look really similar, and they said it was a sort of, vintage style, vintage inspired little cardie. So I bought the cotton, and I did the swatch, and I more or less on gauge. It was like half a stitch out and half a row out, but that's good enough. That's brilliant for me, in fact. But I was trying to figure out how long I wanted the sleeve, and also how much ease, because I was kind of in between two sizes. So I thought, do I want it to be quite fitted, or do I want a little bit more ease? So whether I did the size 2 or the size 3, and so I looked on the project pages on Ravelry. You can see what other people had done, and I looked at about 12 before I stopped looking, because on every single one they just said, this is not a good pattern, this is really badly written, it doesn't include enough information for the decreasing around the neckline, and it doesn't tell you, the picking up for the ribbon, and this isn't that, and this isn't. And then lots of people are really nice, and they say what they did and how they worked it. But I just thought, I want this to be like a quick and easy, something enjoyable. Like I don't want to have to work for it and research it and do a bit and think that's not right and rip it out and do it again. And like I just wanted a mindless, easy peasy, happy knit. So then I was like, I don't know what to do now. I've got the wool, I've got gauge. But then I remembered my Leith cardigan, which is by Rebecca from the Crayer Bayer, and it's the, you know, the Battenberg one that I did in all my naturally dyed pinks and yellows. That is the same gauge, DK weight yarn, I think 20 stitches by 28 rows, and so it was virtually like more or less bang on gauge, that gauge. And I thought, well, that's a V-neck cardigan. It's got I think the other one had a slight, maybe a bit of a shorter sleeve, might not quite drop. Is it called a set-in sleeve? I don't know. Whereas the Leith is a definite drop. But I still think if I just knit that to a shorter length, like maybe just above elbow type length, that would be a really good substitute for either one of those like button-up t-shirt patterns. So like could be used as a t-shirt, could be used as a short sleeve cardi over the top of something. So that's what I'm going with. I cast on yesterday, just so that's all I've done. I've done like 5 rows of ribbon just so that it was on the needles and going before I go away tomorrow. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm gonna have to buy buttons because I definitely don't have any other buttons that are even similar. But I think probably little wooden buttons would be nice. So that, other than the frost, which is happening, it's happening. I'm going to get there. This is my only other work in progress. And really because, you know, the frost is the thing that I need to focus on. I don't have many, like, I do have other plans that I want to do, but I know in my brain they're pushed to sort of September, so after we come back from summer holidays and all of that stuff. But I have one more sewing pattern that I would like to get done before we go on holiday, and it's been something that I've been thinking about, and I've been trying to find the right pattern, and it's like a garment that I've wanted to make, and I've been inspired by a number of different sources, and I finally settled on a pattern. So the first thing that kind of inspired me was a jumpsuit from Toast. It's like, you know, look at Toast and decide which things you're going to make for yourself. I know I'm not the only person that does this, but it's I'll show a picture of it. It's a jumpsuit that has a really deep V front and back. So I don't think you'd wear it with nothing underneath. I mean, you could if you were going out in the evening or something and you were quite daring. It's got a really deep V front and back, and then the Toast one is quite fitted. It's got darts round the waist, and I'm assuming it's got a invisible zip up the back or up the side, so you can get in and out of it. And I just really liked it. I really liked that deep V, and that you could wear like a shirt underneath it or a t-shirt underneath it or whatever. So I had my eye on that. It came in a sort of not dissimilar to this colour and black, and I thought the green one would be too hard to wear by itself, like to try and find something to go over the top. I don't know. I was going to say it was a bit too bright for me, but then I am wearing a t-shirt in that colour, and I don't really like black, so I didn't want to buy a black one. And then Casey Apple from Young Folk Knits has made lots of Tate rompers, which is a jumpsuit pattern that has like just a bandeau type top with a zip, and then the trousers fall straight from underneath that, so it's like an empire waist, and it has straps, which I think you can either have them as normal straps, or you can have them as like little ties in a little bow, and they can go from being very thin kind of rouleau type straps or much wider ones if you wanted to hide a bra strap underneath it. And she's made a few, and she looks really nice in them, and I really fancied it. But again, she's obviously really pleased with them, and she looks nice, but she's adapted the pattern slightly to suit her. I know she's lengthened the bodice, and she's done the bodice in one size and the trousers size down much smaller because there was just a huge volume of fabric. and I'd read quite a few reviews saying, you know, there are better patterns out there. There's not enough shape here, and I don't like this there, and there should be darts, and I don't know. It was just enough to make me doubt. And also, the thing I really liked about the toast one was that deep V, and that didn't have it. So I then found this pattern. I'll try and put a picture up. It's called I'm not sure how you say it, Caladium, or it might be Caladium Jumpsuit, by Karamaya. I'm not sure. Again, I'm really sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but I'm going to go with Caladium by Karamaya. And it is a jumpsuit that is reversible. So I think they have it with a square neck as the front and then this deep V at the back, but they say that you can wear it either way. Now, I think because it's reversible, the length of the body measurement and the length of the leg and where the waistline is and everything must be the same on front and back so that you can wear it. So like the rise must be equally distributed between the front and the back, so that you can reverse it. So I think I will be able to get away with doing two backs. So I have a V front and a V at the back, because I don't really like there being the V at one and the square at the back. It's not for me. So that's my plan. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm very waffly. I'm sorry. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. And I'm going to make it in this cotton, which is just it's like a French navy blue cotton with little white ditzy flowers on. I think it'll look really cute. I think I'll be able to put like a white shirt underneath it, or I was going to say a white t-shirt. I don't own a white t-shirt, so you know, but if I did, that would look nice under it. Or I could just wear it with like a white crop top, so that, you know, that V isn't, you can just see it there, but you've got bare arms. And I think this little cotton tee could be worn over the top, open like a cardi. I think it'll be really cute if it works. Again, I think it's just a pull on and off one, actually. There's no zip fastening or anything, so it should be dead easy, but because of that there's quite a lot of ease, and I want to make it with slightly less ease. So you just have to make sure that the smallest bit, which is the bit round your full bust, has to be big enough. There has to be enough ease there for it to fit over your hips. And I think like one size, like the second or third size, I think, will like allow me to sort of just shimmy that bit past my hip and on. So fingers crossed that's going to happen. So I might like to try and do that next week, but in all honesty it might be the week after, depending on how the frost goes. And then that will be it, because at the end of that second week the kids break up from school and we'll be into summer holidays, so I won't be doing that much sewing or anything then. So fingers crossed, that's my plan. I think that's more or less everything, except for, I bought two things. Now I don't normally do like an acquisitions section, and I try not to buy too much stuff, although I've failed, because I bought this cotton and I bought that navy blue cotton to make the jumpsuit, and I've also splurged and bought 2 skeins of woolen twine mohair. Any of you who follow Eula, there you go, can you see that? Woolen Twine Fibre Studio. She's based in Germany, in Hamburg, I think, and she is a natural dyer, and she dyes on all natural fibre bases, so no plastic, no nylon or anything. And this is cruelty-free, 28% cruelty-free silk and 72% traceable mohair fibre. She's really keen on sustainability and supporting local to her industry and stuff if she can. And she produced 2 colourways. So this one, which is like the pastel one, and then a sort of darker, like a stronger version of the same rainbow colourways, for Pride Month, and she donated the profit from all the sales to a charity. I can't remember the name of it, I'm very sorry. I'm sure the details are on her website. But to a charity that supported people within that community. And given that I'm knitting a mohair jumper at the minute and I don't love it, it was kind of nuts of me to buy two. I bought two skeins of this mohair, but I couldn't resist it. She only produced them in the mohair or on Ovis, which is her no nylon sock base. And given that, you know, I've got my 12, my calendar's worth, but probably like 2 or 3 other 100-gram skeins of a no nylon sock base that I dyed myself. Like, I thought, I cannot, like how many socks can one person knit? Like, but I couldn't resist it. It is just gorgeous. I love it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I had thought at first that I might pair it with like a white. I know I've got a sort of slightly off-white DK weight wool, like a sweater quantity in my stash that I bought at Yarndale last year. So I could pair it with that, but I don't know if it will look a bit too unicorny. Like, I don't really want, I don't know. I might need to swatch up and see, I think is the answer. Or I might get this colour here. My light's always rubbish. Is like a lavendery, like a dark lilac. That's the sort of even going toward mauve there. So maybe like a Knitting for Olive. They just like dusty violet or dusty bluebell or whatever. Those sorts of kind of muted pastel colours held together with this might look really nice. But I think it's just beautiful. Like, it's the silk in it is so shiny and the colours are so gorgeous. And her swatches that she did some swatches knitted up so you could see the colour. You know, it didn't look like stripy, horrible microstripy, which is how I often feel about variegated fabrics. It didn't look like that. It looked beautiful. So I couldn't resist. And then also I couldn't resist yesterday when my dad and stepmom were here. We went to a local town that had like an antique shop, you know, one of those antique shops which is actually just a junk shop, but it's brilliant for rummaging around and finding all sorts of things, all sorts of like loads of rubbish, but also loads and loads of good stuff. And you can just happily spend time rummaging around, and they have anything and everything that you could possibly think of. And I found this. I'll put a picture up. You can see it's currently blocking. It's drying from having washed. It's a hand knit Aran cardigan, but it's quite big, and so I think it will do like a jacket for like spring, or let's be honest, summer. At the minute it's so cold, or autumn. So there's a lot of jackets out there, and I've really liked them. So the obvious one, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, is Petite Knit's Esther jacket, and I would love to knit that, but I think it's probably beyond my current skill level. I really struggle with charts, and obviously there's a lot of charts. It's if you don't know it, it's a textured knit, but it's not cables. It's is it called shadow knitting, where you make the patterns with different knits and purl combinations, and so you get like, you know, diamonds or whatever through it. And I've seen quite a few people knit it up, and it looks brilliant. And you can wear it as a proper jacket. Like it is more jacket shaping than cardigan shaping. And I know that Rebecca at the Crayobeia has one that she's kind of currently working up. I think it's going to have the same texture as her Stick Season sweater. And she's planning on that being a sort of jacket type. But that's not coming out till next year, I don't think. So I was thinking in my head, you know, this was something that I was going to keep in mind, have a look at patterns, see if one came up. And then this was just there on a hanger. And it's hand knitted, you know, by somebody. And actually, I'm not convinced it was ever blocked, because if you could see when I showed a picture of it, it's got quite wide space ribbons. So there's like purl, 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 knit stitches, purl, 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 purl. So like a wide rib. And that was all cinched up on itself. It was all kind of like sucked in. Whereas, you know, when you block it and you pull it out, and it all lays flatter and opens up. So I took it home, and also it felt still quite lanolin. I can't say it. You know what I mean? Full of lanolin. I should cut this bit out, but I don't. I never do any editing, so sorry. You've just got my blur. Anyway, so I brought it home. I immediately put it in the sink with some wool wash, and the water went like not a nice colour. It was like weak tea. It was very dirty. And then I've laid it out and pulled it out, and so it's the ribbons opened up. There's little bits of cabling, they've opened up, and I think it's going to be a nice kind of outer layer type thing. You know, I'll definitely be able to get another jumper on underneath. So I'm hoping I'll be able to wear it as a jacket. So that was great. The other thing I thought I might do with it, I'm waffling now, I know that, is that a while ago, I think in the last issue of Taproot is a magazine that was produced in America, which I think is now no more. But it had lots of good articles, some about farming and homesteading and knitting patterns and all sorts. And I was a subscriber for a few years, so I've got quite a lot of them. And in their last issue, they had an article showing you how you could kind of weave or stitch, like decoratively stitch into old Aran jumpers, like into cables. And I've got an Aran jumper that I bought at a charity shop in Wales years ago, like a really big all over cabled sweater, which I love and I wear a lot in the winter. But it's just kind of like a big man's fisherman sweater, you know. It's not, it doesn't look gorgeous, but I thought that would, either that or this would maybe give me the opportunity to have a little go of that. If I can find the issue, I'll take a photograph of it in case I'm talking rubbish and you don't know what I'm on about. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to go vote. I'm very excited. Let's hope for a good, happy, green outcome. And yeah, hope you have a lovely day. The sun has come out, so I hope it's shining where you are. And I hope that you get some time for whatever makes you happy. And I hope I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye.